we'll have this discussion.
Discussion? What discussion?
This is a discussion combustion.
Coming to you from Denver, Colorado. This is Discussion Combustion Podcast with your hosts, Kevin Batstone and Arthur Raw.
I have gotten so many compliments and people DMing me about this sweater, and I feel bad because I haven't even reached out to be like, yo, you should give me like a sponsor or code for it. But yeah, it's from Uncle Rico on Instagram. I thought it was a scam. Like the website was totally sketch. I was like, oh man, I'm going to pay $60 for this to never come in the mail. And it came. The print's good. It's not like something like super bad that was like just a print on a sweater. I rock this all the time. People love it.
The Game Boy arm is what sells it for me. Yeah.
The Game Boy arm.
Yeah, I love that shit.
It's busy, you know. Got to catch them all. You got a lot going on. It sums up Pokemon. I dig
Is it Pokemon Red on the left arm? It says Pokemon.
Yes,
okay.
Yep. Then you got Cubone, got the
Charizard.
This was my first Pokemon game ever, so.
I think I got Red too, because like what they had blue, red.
Mm-hmm.
I had Red,
and then the original.
Well, no, those were the two, and then you had Yellow come out like 2 years later.
Mm-hmm.
But
so it was Red and Blue to start.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that was Game Boy. That was Pokemon Yellow was Game Boy Color.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
And then they like re-released all the other ones and.
Yeah, they did like it was like Fire Red, Leaf Green. I mean, I was pretty much done after Silver. So there was Gold and Silver, and then I started being attracted to women, and that shit ended pretty quickly.
You're like, all right, I'm gonna shift the focus here.
So I did get the Game Boy emulator on my phone.
Yeah.
And I like went back and got like the original Pokemon game for it. Now in the silver ones, were there like, was it a different map or was it like the same map, quests?
Different map, different region.
Okay.
I don't remember the region, so I think it's
Yeah.
Kanto region for Pokemon Red and Blue, and then it's something totally different and different Pokemon too. But it's great. Like I have the same thing. I have Pokemon Red on my phone if I'm not playing on my like original handheld. It's a great way to kill time.
Now, so you are running 90s Kid for Life on Instagram.
That's correct.
And you've had a lot of traction.
Yep.
So I'm an 87 baby. You were born in 89. Kevin was born in 89.
I split the difference.
Oh, you do? You're 88.
I'm 88.
That's
okay.
perfect. 87, 88, 89. Let's go.
Nice.
Yep.
That's actually a good spread we have in here. And actually, I'll cheers to that.
Cheers,
yes, thanks,
guys.
Bud Light.
And thanks for coming in,
Bud
man.
Light. Yeah, thanks for having
making
me.
the trip down. 90s Kid for Life, and then TikTok. What's your handle over there?
Same thing.
Same
90s
thing.
Kid for Life. That YouTube's really small. Same handle, but focus right now is I have 2 TikToks. 90s Kid for Life, then
and it's a 4 numeral, not spelled out.
4.
Yes.
Yep, and Life with a Y.
Okay.
And then I have another TikTok, nostalgia.nerd. I created that because I got shadow banned for posting something, I guess, that was too controversial on my TikTok. And so it was like, it went from getting like an average of like 100,000 views to like 200 views. And I was like,
oh, yeah, we know what that feels
like.
like.
What about it was controversial? Do you want to get into that?
I stitched a video,
Yeah.
and I guess it was in poor taste. Like, I think a Karen got upset on it and reported me, and then they're like, yeah, no. So it just like suppressed my views for like 5 months. It like nothing, no matter what I did, it was just like stagnant. I couldn't get any sort of traction. And then one day I posted a video and it got like 6 million views, and I was like, what the hell? And then
you're like double checking the number,
I was
like
just
is this actually actual?
Yeah. And then another video that same week got another 3 million, and now it's just back to like a couple thousand views. So you were talking about it earlier, the algorithm changes all the time. I've come to discover from other creators, if you don't do the exact same skit over and over and over, the same template of a skit that's worked, it doesn't really go anywhere. You can't keep switching up different styles of your content or different sketches. The reason I like Instagram and the platform of where it's growing right now is it's not the same. The algorithm there is much different. So I can be a lot more open-ended as far as the content I create or what I post, and it still gets decent traction. So it's a lot less frustrating as a creator to post on there relative to TikTok, where some days I just want to pull my hair out because I'm like, no matter what I post, it's not working. And then you see some people post the dumbest video, and it gets like
it just blows
80
up.
million views, and you're like, what am I doing
Yeah.
wrong? I think you guys could probably relate. That's probably the most frustrating thing in this industry, whether it's podcasting or content creation. Someone who could just start a podcast, one thing goes viral, and their life changes overnight, as or for like you guys, you grind for 3 years, you keep building this base, you're eventually going to get there. But it sucks when you see people with immediate success where it's like, was that really earned? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. I think we see a lot of that in this industry from all creative levels. I mean, TikTok stars, the OnlyFans, the overnight guys that blow up, just from silly videos. I mean, there's been some good ones that come out of it, like Lainey Gardner or Dogface, some of those guys that blew up from just one video. But, when it comes to the creative piece and how you market it and put it on these platforms, do you think it's the hashtags? Do you think it's the title? What kind of drives people to your content specifically?
So I think it's my niche area is millennials. Now, I focus primarily on 90s kids. However, there's always debates on my page of like, 80 kids had this too, or 2000s kids, we had this exact same thing. So even though I focused on one niche audience, it branches out into a wider base unintentionally. And so I think the reason that it started having success is, you guys know we just hit our 30s not too long ago. We're starting to hit that age, I think, where it's like we're really in the grind of our careers. And we're like, man, adulting really fucking sucks. Like, I don't like doing this. So you revert of like, well, we have this pandemic. We have a war. Just supply chain. Like, there's so much negative stuff going on in the world. And you're like, okay, what are things that make me happy? And you think of, I play this video game, brings a smile on a face. Or I watch this old skit from an old TV show or cartoon that I used to watch. And I was like, man, that seems like a good space with all the negativity right now. If I feel this good about the stuff I watch or create, I'm sure I can share that with other people and they'll feel the same way. And it's worked. And it's really, I created this space as a way of like people to escape, not necessarily of a platform for me to get famous and be an influencer. I created as like, hey, if I can help make you smile or make the day better, that's really cool. And I could show you some of the screenshots. I screenshot every time I get a message where it's like, your page has changed my week or has changed my day or has helped make my life better. I was just in Japan. I got a message from a guy, I won't say his name. He said, hey, Jason David Frank, I don't know if you guys know, he was the Green Ranger from Power Rangers. He just recently committed suicide about 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, which is sad. He has kids and all the stuff. He was in his 50s, right? Like
he was young. He was like 51 or 52. He was in the production of a new movie coming out, and so I posted a video wearing their sweater actually about mental health and just advocating, hey, don't do it. Your life's important. And the outpouring of support from that video was pretty cool. But I got a message from a guy that said, hey, I saw your video and it kept me from committing suicide that night. Wow. And I was like, whoa, that was really cool. And, I talked to him for about a half an hour through Instagram, just saying, hey, it's going to be okay. Here's some places for support if you need to reach out. You can reach out to me if you want. But he was just like, that was just something to reflect on. It's like, if anything, I'll find gratitude at the end of the day, even if this doesn't work out. It's like, I changed one person's life from making a terrible mistake that could have butterflied affected to a lot of other people from that one tragic event. So it's pretty cool, but there's a lot of positive stuff. So I don't want to stay on some kind of somber note. But
that somber note is a positive thing.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, when your content can literally affect someone's life to the point where they're going to maintain life, it's a humbling moment for sure. I think we've seen a little bit on this side, just helping some folks. Art's been very open about his drug addiction, and people have related to that, and same with me with some of my stuff. There's nothing more rewarding, I feel like, rather than the viewership or the payout or the subscriber count, than when someone reaches out and says, "Hey, man, your content, what you created, affected me personally." I mean, that's
like mission accomplished.
Yeah, that's what I would agree.
Not only, I'm sure you have a lot of fun creating your content. It's a blast for you. You probably sit there and laugh at it and have a good time with it. But then you could also help people on top of it. Those are the selfless things that we're almost doing for ourselves that impact others. And, how fortunate are we to even be in that position in the first place? But to also recognize it is important because there's so many people that are, in that influencer spotlight, I guess you can say, and they just kind of they don't utilize that power like they should,
Or for self-interest, which, I mean, it's hard to hold it against them, right? If you're trying to make as much as you can in the short window, because 5 minutes of fame, I think, lasts for everybody. So I can understand the capitalization on, I'm going to try and make as much money as I can right now. But I would agree. I think people don't utilize the platform to the influences that they could. But again, to each their own. But for me, at the end of the day, I find it rewarding from the really cool messages I get of people saying, that was really funny. This brought back some really fond memories of this time with my family, or like of remembering my grandma chilling out on her couch. I'm like, that's awesome. Like that's why you. And I tell them, I was like, and I try to respond to every single person that messages me and like, thank you. This is the stuff that keeps me wanting to keep going, because some days are tough. I'm sure you guys have dealt with it.
Oh yeah.
I've gotten, it's like, you don't recognize the 99% that's positive. You hyper focus on the 1% of trolls that say shit that just like get under your skin, and it's like, why would you go there? Why would you even say that? Or why would you interpret this skit or this comment as that way? But I don't know. Internet's a nasty place.
It really is. It's a dark place. The dark arts are out there, and I think no matter what content's created, no matter what is put out there, people are always going to have something to say about it. You know, especially once you start talking about the numbers that you're pulling. You know, the percentages. If it's 99% positive, 1%. So 1,000 out of 100,000. I'd say that's about the numbers. If people bitch, moan, and complain just to be keyboard warriors, just to be Debbie Downers, that's just unfortunately what I think the internet is. It gives everyone a voice.
Yeah.
Well, and too bad for them. Because here's the thing, like, if that's how you're trying to spend your day, is like complaining and trying to derail somebody else's success, then like, are you actually a happy person? Like, do you think that person is actually enjoying their life? Probably not. So it's like, anybody who's focusing that energy like that, I'm like, you go right on ahead and you just keep that whole energy up, because you're going to really enjoy your life.
Yeah, you're going to have ulcers at 40 and a stroke at 50. But I think people get off being happy by being unhappy. I think there's just negative people out there, and they want to pull you into their gravitational pull, and I don't know.
That's so true, man.
Cut that out of my life a long time ago.
No, that's great.
So I don't want to make the whole show about this, but I did have to rattle off a couple things that are really nostalgic to me.
Okay, go for it.
That I've been dabbling with.
I have a gift for you two.
Oh my goodness.
Gifts on the air.
The man came in with hot hands.
This is from my original Pog collection.
Pog collection.
That's pretty
I remember
cool.
Pogs.
Yeah.
These look like they're collector
I couldn't
ones.
come empty-handed. You guys were so nice to invite me down here.
That's
nice,
pretty cool, man. Hell yeah.
Now, what is the symbol? Do we have the same symbols?
No, I gave you guys different ones.
That's cool.
Let's get a camera on it, Art, so
all right,
viewers
here,
can take a look.
We're gonna put it in front of yours, Justin.
Let's go 3 here.
Here, you got to go over the other way, Kev.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, there you go. Here, angle it back so they can see the glimmer.
Okay.
Yeah.
The finesse.
Thanks, Justin, man.
That's
These
cool,
are
man.
cool, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Appreciate that. No, I remember
Keep that right
Pogs
here.
back in the day. I don't remember how to play, but I remember I had a lot of them.
You had those tubes, just those giant plastic tubes full of them. And I don't know if anyone ever actually played the game. You just collected them for whatever reason.
They're like cool to look at.
Yeah. You had that, and as a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old kid, you're mesmerized by shiny objects and colors, but it was fun.
So what's been bringing me back recently is playing old Red Alert games. And the ones I've been playing is like Tiberian Sun.
Okay.
And then also Red Alert 2, of course. Did you play RTS games growing up too?
My first game that I remember was Duck Hunter on Nintendo.
Oh, yeah.
The original Mario. My grandpa had a console, so every time we'd go there. But then it was Super Mario World for SNES, and then Donkey Kong Land was probably like my favorite SNES game. But then, was it 96 or 97 when the PS1 came out? Final Fantasy VII. That's my all-time favorite game. Nothing even
But
comes
original
close.
graphics, not the redo, right?
No, the original one.
Yeah.
I do love the remake. They did a great job with the remake. But yeah, the 3-disc version, playing that, having like multiple memory cards just to play through the game, that was my jam. And then having that like thick strategy guide to be able to know what you're doing.
Oh yeah.
That game was
fun.
intimidating to me back in the day when it first came out. I couldn't like handle it.
It's a lot.
It was too much. It was too much for me to handle.
It was revolutionary back in the day for an RPG game. I think it set the course for other RPG games to come out. But that whole Final Fantasy series.
And that was 97 on PS1?
PS1, I think, was 97.
Okay.
At least might have been 96.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to think that was,
I know. It feels like it was a lot closer than it is, but I guess that's just because we're getting older and we're 80s. We're elder
Was
millennials.
that 25 years? Yeah, 25 years ago.
25 years ago, yeah.
That's nuts.
Same with, N64 was big for me. I mean, I had the SNES for sure. I played Zelda, definitely got all the Marios down, the Donkey Kong.
So you didn't switch. You stayed Nintendo.
Yeah, because I mean, I kind of followed my brother's roots a little bit. He was
Okay.
because he's 7 years older than me, so he like was in with the trends and shit. And so he had the NES. We went SNES, N64. Like we kind of went the Nintendo way. And then once I got to that age, I went PS2, I think at the time.
Okay.
But Zelda: Ocarina of Time, N64. Speak of the devil, wearing the shirt over here.
Yeah, love it.
I had to wear this tonight, man. With you coming in here, I was like, dude, if I don't wear my Nintendo shirt tonight, like that's a major fail with this man coming in. And then you come in with all the Pokemon swag.
Yeah, man.
I mean, it's interesting, right? It's like bell bottoms, how those came back. Like everything is like
In the
cyclical.
mullet?
Or
yeah.
Jinkos. You remember Jinkos?
Those,
I
are
wore
those coming
those.
back?
Yeah,
Are those
the-
coming back?
Yeah. Do you know how much a pair of Jinkos goes for?
100?
$150.
$400.
$400.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
Goodness.
I remember I only owned one pair of Jinkos, and I thought to myself, what am I doing? Like, these are the most ridiculous pants. Like, they had...
Oh, they were massive.
The legs at the end went out, like, this far. It
Yeah.
was-
You could
it
get
was
both legs
absurd.
through one pant leg.
You could.
You couldn't even see your foot inside
No.
of a shoe. It like just completely covered it.
Yeah.
It almost looked like people were hovering, walking around in those.
Yeah, and the bottom would just get all wet and soggy during the winter because you'd be picking up all the dirt and debris out there. Terrible.
It was awful. But what's crazy to think about, going back to how expensive they are, is, like, you think about our parents or our grandparents, they didn't have much collections. Like, they had coin collections, stamp
China.
collections, dishware, I don't know, maybe a few, I would say baseball cards.
Yeah, that's
but
a good one.
Other than that, I don't remember our baby boomers or pre-baby boomers having many collections.
So
but now,
my aunt, who was a total comic book nerd, though, she owned a comic book store.
Oh, snap.
And she was so into all the shit. And she had some of the coolest collectibles that I had ever seen. Like, she had all the original Star Wars like figures and stuff.
Those are
and
probably worth so
and
much.
like all the comic book stuff, because she would get like first choice because it has to come through the comic book store. So that was really fun growing up with that kind of stuff. And like how happy are we that we grew up without actually having
The Black
to
Mirror.
like have like a cell
We had
phone. I mean,
actual toys.
as it's ringing right now in the background. But yeah, like we actually had a chance to go out, play outside in the dirt. Like my favorite thing was the Beast Wars toys. And like,
have you seen the trailer
I-
for the new movie?
I
I
saw-
posted it. I posted it on my
I
page.
saw just a little bit of it. Maybe
So
it was on
good.
your page, but like I'm excited for that. But I used to play with those toys like in the long grass and just chilling outside. Like it was different back then. Like it was just a little bit different. And I feel like that's why your channel is catching this huge like wave of listenership and interaction, because it truly goes back to a time that was before like you give your kid a screen to look at to entertain them. Like we actually had to entertain ourselves back then,
It's true.
And it's crazy to think about. Like, at least I grew up in a rural town in Maryland when I was younger, and it's like, man, my parents would just let me go on a bike ride all day, no way of contacting me, and then they just said, come back when it's dark out.
Yeah, when the street
Can you
lights come on.
imagine? Like, a parent would probably have social services called on them now.
Well, now
if they
everyone-
allowed that.
They all have GPS trackers on
Yeah.
them now. We didn't have any of that. Like, Mom would drive around town just try to find me, because I grew up in a kind of a hillbilly town in New Hampshire, town of like 5,000 people. So playing outdoors, riding your bike, same kind of thing. And yeah, you're right. It's a totally different world now, because parents can track where their kids are at. They have instant access to them via text calls, video calls, what have you. We didn't have any of that. We had our toys, we had our buddies, we had our bikes,
And neighbors would look out for each other's kids too. And I feel like we live in a day and age where neighbors don't talk. Like, it's
No.
a dog-eat-dog world.
People are like more introverted nowadays. Do you feel like they don't want to like this? Strangers across a table without
It's
phones.
nostalgic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like when's the last time you like got to know a stranger
Like
across
a general
the table like this? Yeah.
conversation. I'm probably an outlier because I'm pretty extrovert, so I just like getting to know people. But
Yeah.
I would say probably on a plane ride
Oh, those
that
are
I've had
okay.
recently. That's probably when I think that's a forced circumstance, though.
Mm-hmm.
When you're talking about it happening organically, I don't know. People are glued, like you said. They're either staring at their phone. Even when you see like relationships, they go to restaurants and people don't
drives
really
me
even go
nuts.
on dates.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you look at a table, they're on a date clearly, and they're just glued to their phone. They're not even looking at
terrible.
each other.
So there is a 5-minute buffer that you have to allow, and that's because we all use the QR codes to pull up the menu. So when
That
you
is true.
when you first sit down, look, you get 3 to 5 minutes to look at the menu
I don't like
and
the QR
pick
menu.
out your shit.
I don't either.
Yeah.
Give me, I mean,
Give me
that
the
makes
old school
me
menu.
sound old. It's like, no.
Give me the
something
menu.
tangible.
Give
I want
me
to
a
hold
piece of
something,
paper.
damn it. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
need a piece of paper in my hand.
Yeah, because like let's say maybe because there's times I've talked about this on the cast when I challenge people leave your phone in your car when you go out to dinner.
People
when you're with
freak.
They don't know what to do. But like if you're in a situation, you walk in a restaurant like, sorry, all we have is QR menus, then you're kind of hosed. Mm-hmm. Well, what am I going to do now? I guess I'll just take whatever you recommend, waiter.
Stranger out there. But yeah, I think people are so introverted now is because so many people have their own problems that they don't want to invite others people problems into it. Like they don't want to, they have enough stress like kids or work, relationships. I think people are afraid if they bring new people into their life, they're going to have to take on some sort of stress that they carry with them. And I think people are just overloaded right now. And I think the idea of like just social engagement other than through technology, I think people forgot the art of having a conversation, like a tangible conversation.
Yeah, I think we've seen a lot of that. I mean, and the pandemic did not help at all.
No.
Because everyone was just locked behind doors and they were doing Zooms and video calls, but people got really used to that comfort of being in their home. They didn't have that pressure of other eyes looking at them other than their Zoom screen. And I think that we're starting to see long-term effects from that for sure. Even though the restaurants and bars are packed, I mean, I'm out in the market all the time. I mean, people are out and about, but it's just different now.
Yeah, what have you seen from that as far as social interactions now? Like
They've
just
declined.
hanging out?
They've declined significantly. And I'm a social guy. If I'm at an airport, I'm at a bar, whatever. Hey, what's going on? I try to network the podcast, whatever. And I would say it's about 60% are receptive of it. So, 6 out of 10 will probably talk to you, maybe because they just feel uncomfortable and don't want to tell you to kick rocks. But then 4 out of 10 are just like, I don't want any part of this.
Yeah. The good old line, do you listen to podcasts? No. And I was like, well, I was going to give you a sticker, and here you go. Like, it's just still handing the sticker.
That's when I hit him with, well, now's a good time to start.
There you
Yeah,
go.
see, the salesman of the group right here.
You can't reject me.
Absolutely not. You're leaving with a sticker.
That's right. You got swag. I'll never turn down swag.
Look, and who doesn't like a good sticker? A lot of people, they'll stick the sticky immediately, like on their water bottle or something.
People get excited about stickers. That's also something I feel like nostalgic. Our old host, Jamie, that I was telling you about before we went on the air, we used to record in his basement. That man loves stickers.
Yeah.
I mean, every door in his
Laptops
house,
in college.
laptops covered in stickers, bands, shows, whatever. Just all the shit you can get. I mean, hell, even our printer over there is stickered up.
Oh, yeah. One thing that really grinds my gears,
Nice.
okay?
Peter Griffin.
Yes. It grinds my gears is this digital business card thing. Like,
Have you seen that? Where you just go, bloop?
No, I went to a networking event, and like where it was, like the internet wasn't that good, so everyone kept trying to be like, oh yeah, let me pull it up, and then like they couldn't like connect to it and shit, and I'm just like, this is so dumb. Here's a sticker. Like, like I'm spending 90 seconds trying to connect to their digital card. Like, there's nothing as good as just, handing somebody something and being like,
That
hey,
they can
man,
take with them.
Here it is. Like,
Something tangible.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I understand the QR market and the digital world because people are so glued to their screens, of course, and they're going to be like, oh, yeah, I met this person. And it's still pulled up in their window. But I think we can balance it with the old school stuff, too. Mm-hmm. Here's a card. Here's my QR code. Take your pick. Here's both.
Do a little bit of both. Yeah.
Because, I mean, we have a QR code on our media passes that people can scan.
Yes.
Which would somewhat be a digital asset.
But we use that when we've run out of stickers.
We've used it even when we do have stickers.
That's true. I guess that's the thing is you got to just utilize every resource you can in today's market to try to like get everything because it's all about people's time, right? And if you keep people coming back and enjoying their time, then that's a good life.
I agree.
Having fun.
And it's hard too because you were talking about what do you think it is with your posts that creates engagement, and for me it's a 2-second window. If you can't get their attention, because our generation, I would say, especially Gen Z, is instant gratification. If you don't have a hook within that first 2 seconds, they're gonna swipe.
They're out.
Sorry, you had your 1 second to catch me, and it's very true. So, I mean, I'm very focused on the first 2 seconds of a video or a skit of like, what do I got to do that's gonna pop out of the screen, or at least keep you engaged for another 5 seconds to at least give me the chance to introduce my content or how I can make you laugh or make your day better. And that's it. I think now in today's day and age, like you said, you got to keep your engaged. You got to figure out how to keep someone's attention because it's so short.
That's a good breakdown of it too, man. Because when we look at some of our analytics on the podcast side, it's an hour and a half show sometimes, right? And a lot of the younger generation is not going to sit through this conversation.
Listen to this episode.
Yeah. Listen. So
check it out.
What we just started doing recently, and this was some advice that we got from Chef Cody, one of our good buddies that was on Hell's Kitchen. He says, guys, you got to start doing the YouTube shorts. Mm-hmm. And what's been interesting about that is I think we're 2-3 weeks in on that. So for the folks that are viewing us on YouTube, you can start checking those out. We keep them short, like 15 seconds. They're fun, but they pop quick, like boom, 3,000-4,000 views, and then that's it. So it's like as they launch, they pop and then they're out. And that's just kind of some of how the algorithms work. But I think the idea of that, like you were saying to your point, grabbing their attention.
But that's 4,000 more eyes than you had before.
Correct.
And at least maybe even if it's like 1%, it's like, oh, maybe 40 people will come and listen to the podcast, or at least give us the opportunity for them to be a listener. That's why I think shorts are. I think the reason YouTube's going to that one, they're trying to
stories.
Yeah, they're trying to compete with Reels and TikTok overall, and just drag more because all those companies get ad revenue, and the more eyes they have, the more they can bill, Google or whoever is running the ad space. But yeah, I think that's the best way to go, at least for an initial outreach, is to try and do shorts to get their attention, and then of course the longer content for once you have your base down. But that's why I switched from originally my Instagram page was just memes, pictures, posts. I get like 100 likes, 200 likes. If I was like, I felt really great if I got like 1,200 likes on a meme that I posted. I was like, oh, this is awesome engagement. And then it's just like I went to Reels.
Change the game.
Complete game changer. It's like, man, okay, 10,000 views, 50,000 views, 100,000 views. And then the one video that really popped off for it to start this like tremendous upswing is I had a nostalgic Walmart video. Super dumb skit. Me walking into a Walmart with a can of Surge, saying hi to like a country cashier. This old man handed me a sticker pointing out how lobsters used to be there, pet fish used to be there, the game consoles that you'd have to break your neck to look up at. Yeah. And that video got 24 million views on Instagram. And I couldn't refresh my phone quick enough. Like, I thought it was a joke. I'd refresh and say 100 new followers. And I was like, and then I refresh it again, it says 100. I was like, oh, it just didn't catch the last.
Yeah,
this is
twigging out.
And then I looked and I was like, no, I'm going by about 100 followers a second. And by the end of that, it got me to about 35,000 followers just from that one video.
It's amazing.
And then had a couple more get a couple million views. And I was looking at the analytics, it was like at 3,500 new followers a day that it was running at.
That's crazy. That's impressive.
Now it's between 200 and 500. So I don't know if I got to do a new content series or what have you, but I think that's the toughest part for creators is you got to figure out something different to keep people wanting to stay with your content because I don't know.
I watched a video on how to be a successful YouTuber specifically, and this will probably bleed over into any type of creator type platform. Is you have to do something that's unique, right? Like you really have to tap into something that isn't being done the way that you're going to do it as of right now. Because if you just go and copy somebody else's formula and you try to do the same thing, like they're successful, so if I do it the same way, then I'll be successful. It's not going to work. You might get a little boost in listenership or interaction, but so have you ran into other like nostalgia type channels and then like how are you comparing to those guys?
So I have a couple big nostalgia profiles that follow me. One's the Nostalgic Latino. He's hilarious. Me and him talk all the time. There's another girl, I think it's Christy TV. I've tried reaching out. She hasn't reached out back, but she has clout, so I'm going to continue to follow her. And she follows me, so I feel pretty cool with that. But for some of them, I'm not sure if it's like low-key they're tracking me to see what content I'm creating, to see if they're going to implement some of those ideas, or if they just generally like the space. But I think it's kind of a double-edged. I do the same thing. It's like, oh, what's working for them? What kind of content are they creating? Is that something I could similarly track on my end, or are they just really interested and they actually enjoy my content? But there's a lot in the space. I think Terratown, she's big on TikTok. She's got like 900,000 followers. It's more female based in the 90s nostalgia.
Really?
But yeah, and if I look at the analytics from some of my TikToks, I do have more female followers than I do have male followers, at least on TikTok. Instagram is about 50-50 split, but I don't know. don't view other influencers as competitors. I compete with myself. I look at them as like, man, it'd be nice to be where they're at. But if I keep playing that game, I'm just going to get burnt out, because if I have one post that gets like 500 likes now, I feel that as a loss. When
isn't that silly,
3 months ago, and I was like, this is huge. And now if it doesn't get at least like 4,000 likes, I'm going to be like, man, I suck at this.
Yeah, no, knock that off. Because if you look at a room full of 500 people, you know what I'm saying? And I don't know. The numbers are something that we have focused on in the past, but as we continue to move forward, like, it doesn't matter as much to us, because it's all about enjoying your time, right? If you're enjoying the content, if you're getting those meaningful messages from just one person where it's like, hey, you changed my day, you changed my life today, like, who cares what the numbers are?
Yeah.
Because you're currently enjoying your time and also helping people. And, like, honestly, what's more rewarding than that? Doing something that you have fun with, you know? So, like, it's easy to get into, like, the headspace that you're talking about. Like, we've been there too, for sure. I've been there. And
you get frustrated.
Yeah, it's like one of those tests where it's like, you know, why are we not as successful as we were on the past? But truly, that it doesn't. What are the numbers? Like, does it really even matter?
Depends on what the end goal is. You know, what your end goal is. Because obviously, if it's, you know, primarily going to be your business, then yeah, you're going to be keeping a close eye on analytics. But the market's constantly changing, and what's that quote from Field of Dreams? If you build it, they will come, kind of thing. And I think that's kind of the way I try to remain focused with what we do here, is just keep showing up, keep being authentic, keep being real. Of course, we have the ability to just goof off, drink beer, and fuck around.
Cheers to that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Thanks,
baby.
Bud Light.
Yeah. Thanks, Bud Light.
Yeah, and Heiser.
When you sit down and like, you're like, okay, it's time to create, right? It's time for a new video. Number one, what's the frequency that you do that weekly? And then number two, what's kind of like your methodical approach to, okay, it's time to create new content. Here's what I'm thinking.
So I think about it daily. I think about, okay, what could I do? Should I do like a top 10 list? Should I do like a music series? And then I just kind of play in my mind, okay, what's going to resonate the most with people? I try to be self-deprecating. I think that's the best kind of humor. If you can't make fun of yourself, like I don't know. That's my kind of humor.
Well, and also, no one's going to insult Arthur Raw like Arthur Raw.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
100%.
So we'll beat ourselves off more than anybody else could.
And that's why I laugh when I like see negative comments on my posts. Like, I'll engage and be like, that's hilarious. And I think that irritates them, which brings me a little bit of gratification.
Oh, you give them kudos for the insult?
Yeah, just like,
what they
dude,
want.
that's hilarious. I
That's
love
classic.
They want a negative reaction from you.
Especially if you like give them a kiss face or something like that. It's just like they
really-
hate it. Oh, it grinds their gears. But
That's the way to do it.
It is.
But no, I always just try to think of like what's something that's really relatable that could be super dumb. Like, I had a pretty successful video recently of like falling asleep on some Barney sheets, and then you wake up and the Shrek intro is on loop of that like me intro to the DVD, and it was shocking. I had like, I think like 100,000 comments of people are like, are we living the same life? I had this exact same experience. So it's just trying to find something that's like relatable, silly. I don't try to get too serious, but it's just funny. It's like, are we in a simulation from how many posts that I've had, and people are like, this exact same moment in my life has happened. Like, how is this possible? So yeah, I try to think about it daily, because you put pressure on yourself. You're like, you find success, and then success might fade a little bit, and you're like, okay, should I stick with what I'm doing, or should I switch stuff up? And you get in your head, and I think that's a dangerous place to get, because you change it up too much, you're going to jade your current base. But if you don't change it up enough, you're not going to get new engagement as well. So it's kind of a
Double-edged sword.
a fine line. And again, since this isn't my full-time gig, since I have a solid job, I'm able to have probably more flexibility than maybe people who are
Play
quote
around
unquote,
with it a little bit, yeah.
full-time content creators, and I respect that. If you take that leap of faith, that means you're like
All in.
So I think I have a little bit more flexibility there, but it comes with a lot of like frustrations where it's like, man, this week I couldn't get anything going, no matter. I tried this different skit, I tried this different post, I tried posting at a different time, different hashtag, and I don't know.
Yeah, we've
The
been
algorithm's smarter than me, and it's aggravating as
there.
shit.
And it's constantly
Yeah,
changing.
they're changing the shit on us.
Big time. We've been dealing with that a lot. I mean, honestly, the past 3 months have been the worst analytics we've had throughout our entire project.
And do you think of anything related to that?
We hit 10,000 subscribers
On Spotify?
On YouTube.
on YouTube.
YouTube. That's amazing.
So we hit 10,000.
Once we hit
and then-
that, everything changed.
But you were able to monetize at like 4,500 followers,
correct,
right?
Correct.
And once you have like 100 hours of watch time or something,
yeah, all that
like
plays
that,
in.
and then you can start getting ad revenue from it. So once you hit 10,000 subscribers, they're like, oh no, you're in the big boy space. Fuck you. You got to do something different.
Pretty much.
Something like that. And if anyone from YouTube is listening in on your own platform, we would absolutely appreciate a call back. If you Google Discussion Combustion Productions, there's a phone number right there.
Yes. And we love you guys there at YouTube. Thanks for taking care of us. And please do not unmonetize this episode.
Send us a plaque. Too.
Yes, give us the plaque. We want to work with you, YouTube. You've been good to us. We'll be good to you.
Yes.
But that's awesome.
We're going to keep showing up.
Yeah.
Because if that's the biggest social media platform, like we were talking before the show started, it's like if you can get YouTube going, you get pretty much anything going. I see there. It's cool. I think millennials are different relative to, say, our parents when they talk about disclosing money. People, I mean, your parents probably said at the table, we don't talk about politics, money, or religion at family gatherings. And I think millennials have really changed culture of like, no, we're free to open and talk about income, how we can leverage one another to get better incomes, better lives. And it's cool seeing on like social media as people disclose what they're making from these different platforms. And this one famous lawyer TikTok I saw, she said she posted a video on YouTube. It got, I think, 1.2 million views, and it was like 12 to 15 minutes long. She said that one video paid her $34,000. Just one video.
That's crazy.
And that makes the average income in the United States. And that's saying really...
Is the average income really...
I think it's like 35.
Yeah, I think you're right. 35.
35.
Ouch, God. Come on.
I mean, that's average. Obviously.
America, we can do better than that.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of areas in the country where people can get by on 35,000.
That's true.
But it goes to the saying of like one video can change your life.
Absolutely.
And it started, it hasn't completely changed my life, but one video really has set like in motion things that I always thought was a dream of like, oh, it'd be cool to be a content creator. And then it's like, oh, it's actually within reach for me to potentially do this as a full-time gig. Could I ever do it? I don't know if I'd ever get the guts to do it full-time.
To make the leap.
And if I got to like 1 million followers on Instagram, then I'd probably be like, all right, let's
go
do
ahead
this.
and try
Let's try it. Like as long as I knew I could get another full-time job like pretty easily, I'd probably be like, I'm going to give this a year, see what happens after that. Doesn't work out. But some of these people... It's wild. You mentioned it earlier too. The whole OnlyFans thing drives me nuts. Like
it's insane.
Is there a market out there for men's OnlyFans stuff? Like, do you think?
Of course.
I saw a guy on TikTok. I think he calls himself like the accountant. He's just this like dad bod, late 30s, early 40s. He says he makes $250,000 a month.
Get out of
on
here.
OnlyFans. He said he's found a market where it's like you'll find a middle-aged dude with a beer belly that does stuff. I didn't explore too much. I just saw the page where he's like, I make this much a month on OnlyFans. And I'm like, man, maybe I should start taking pictures of my feet and see what
I was
happens.
just going to say, the feet market is massive. And there's so much untapped market there.
I get so aggravated. You see some of these girls are like posting on TikTok. They're like, yeah, I made $25,000 on OnlyFans this month
for putting pictures of my feet on there.
For feet.
It's unreal.
What does our country come to where dudes are paying for feet pictures?
We got to get girls like running in socks and taking off the socks in a video.
And then selling them.
And then selling the socks.
They do. Like, it's a real thing. Like, people do that.
It gets darker than that, though. I mean, there's guys that'll pay for nasty stuff.
Yeah. And if you read the reviews, it'll change your life forever that people actually do these things.
I mean, we're talking about eating scat and stuff like that.
Yeah.
People are buying women's scat.
I'll do the fat kid from Goonies. I'll do that dance if people just pay me $10 a month to do that. But it's wild. Like what is it, Amaranth? Like that famous. She's a famous Twitch streamer.
Yeah, I've heard about this chick. Yeah.
I didn't know she had an OnlyFans until I saw it on TikTok where she did a podcast and she's like, yeah, I use Twitch as a platform because I make. And the guys are like, okay, how much do you make on Twitch? She's like $100,000 a month, and they're like, how much do you make on OnlyFans? She's like 1.5 million a month.
That's
a month.
It's insane. Remember Bad Baby, that girl, the Catch Me Outside girl?
She made $52 million without taking off any clothing on OnlyFans.
And she was the quickest person to make $1 million. I think she made $1 million within
9 hours or something like that?
Yeah, it was like 6 to 9 hours. She made $1 million when she turned 18 because she was able to go on OnlyFans and just ran all the way to the bank with it.
Dog.
She makes $1 million a week not taking off clothes.
What is she doing?
I don't know. I don't pay for OnlyFans.
Me neither, bro.
But it's just like I can't believe there's that many people when we're talking about like supply chain issues, income problems, and we're just gonna be like, I'm going to send $30 of my hard-earned money to see a girl just stand there in pictures like that.
Yeah.
What is
'cause
going
the
on?
idea of OnlyFans,
It's like, dude, porn's free. Like, come
porn's
on now.
free.
Come on.
But see, I think OnlyFans, the market there was like it's a personal interaction. But I can't imagine someone like her has with that many followers and that many people contributing money that she has enough time and hours in the day to personalize every one of her subscribers.
I think she has zero fucks to give. Like,
Yeah.
what at her? Like, who cares? She's probably like, I have 80 million in the bank. Like, even if I don't pay any attention to this, people are still gonna pay me monthly subscriptions.
That's ridiculous.
Or it's like all the dudes who are like a gym membership and they completely forget. Like, they subscribe to it, and then it's just a continuing revenue stream. And they're like, oh, I forgot to cancel this a year later, and she stole like $300 of that dude's money. Just insane.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
It is interesting, the current atmosphere in which we live, you know, because like we were talking about, like this kind of conversation over a table, like these organic interactions aren't as regular nowadays. But then you also have this influx in social, and digital like purchasing of like endorphin chasing emotions.
It's wild.
It is crazy. It is crazy that people could go on there and like do it like that. And like our platform just coming in here talking like something that's old school. Like I don't know how this could ever catch fire like women's feet, you know? And like, is that sad to say? I don't know if that's sad to say.
It's not sad to say. It's just like, it's reality.
Yeah.
Like, but I mean, like, sex sells. Sex always
Always will.
always sold.
Yeah.
And it's just like, man, you got to think of like some of these ex-Playboy models got to feel so pissed of like, man, I got paid what? Maybe like 150,000 a year doing these magazines. And now it's like girls nowadays are making
They're gonna have to leave the house.
150,000 a month.
They're
to leave
still
the
at
house.
their parents' house
Yeah.
and shit.
They're in the basement.
Yeah.
So aggravating.
The market's definitely changed for sure. And yeah, to your point, I don't think you can compete with that as far as conversation goes. Because, you know, sex sells, of course. I mean, I don't know. You think about like, and I don't know the stats on this, but like the number one, you know, TikToker or, you know, who kind of holds that.
What is his name's I don't want to mispronounce his name, but he's the one who just like points at things and does a facial expression.
He's number one?
He's number one. He got what was her name? That dancer chick. But yeah, he is the most famous now. He's got like 126 million followers. He gets like 900K a post.
Well, and this isn't
And it's just reaction videos. He just does
and
this.
The dancer chick was
Unreal.
like an Asian chick, right?
No, you're thinking of Bella Porch. She
Okay.
just does like the facial expressions.
And then the other dude was African American.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. But his face is classic, like where he's just like, "Come on."
Yeah. No, he just
It's
does
like
that.
that "come on" face. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, good for him, dude.
900K a post.
900K a post.
Per post.
And that's just on TikTok.
Yeah, not including his YouTube, his Facebook, his Instagram, his whatever.
So I wonder how these people feel if like that thing coming up is about, because you know, TikTok is like a spy software from China. Do you believe that?
Yeah, I would say there's some truth to the like information sharing that they have or the access that they get to. Because I mean, I gotta be honest, I've never read a terms and agreement form in my entire
has?
life. Yeah.
I usually read the first line.
Yeah, I mean it's exhausting. It's like
That's it.
it's like for you to actually read this document that has like legal jargon, it's gonna take you like an hour and a half to like get through it and
That's how they cover themselves in CYA.
But I just say, what's the point? Like, if I don't check this box,
You can't use
I'm
it.
not going to
Can't
be
use
able to do what I need to do. So
Yeah.
I might as well just do it, and whatever happens after. But I would say I'm very curious of how that's going to impact some of these creators' lives, because TikTok has become the number one social platform out there.
still not
Last
on
year in 2021, TikTok outperformed Google as the most searched web engine
unreal.
in the United
Really?
States.
Unreal.
First time in like 20 years that, I mean, Google held that reign forever, and then TikTok dethroned it last year. And if this law gets passed, like some of these creators, like I don't know what they're gonna do. Like that was, I mean, their Instagrams are dwarfed by their TikTok following. You go on TikTok, you see they have like 5 million followers. You'll go to their Instagram page, like 5K. It's really hard to
That's
drive.
a huge swing.
It's very hard, I've found, as a content creator, to drive traffic from one platform to the other, because I
it's
think
crazy.
people have their preferences. Like you said, you don't have TikTok,
I
which
don't.
most likely means you have Instagram. That's your
do.
primary social media platform. People who have Instagram, they might scroll through that. They may check Instagram every once in a while, but I think their primary focus is staying on that platform. So trying to drive people through your link tree or your beacons, whatever. It's like, oh, please go sub to my YouTube. Oh, please go sub to my Instagram. For me, I think the numbers are 1 in 1,000. If I have 1,000 people view my page or follow me, maybe one of those will go to another social media platform. So it's pretty wild to see if like someone who has 40 million followers on TikTok, if that gets banned, like,
are
you going to be okay? Like, is your life's going to be all right?
So I guess we've been a little fortunate because like our YouTube and Instagram seem to have been...
They kind of mirror.
Yeah, they've been like slowly growing at roughly the same number, which has been cool.
Yeah, that's been cool. I mean, some of the other platforms, so Twitter we got banned from. Twitter kicked us off.
Did Elon invite you back?
We've been reaching out to him.
Yeah, we sent them messages, and like we didn't even get an explanation to why
they kicked off not only Discussion Combustion, but also my NASCAR podcast, Mash the Gas, which had no followers. They booted both of them off, which were paired through the same
email.
Yeah,
what?
Well, not the same email, but like the same parent owner on Twitter. You can just like Instagram, you can drop down and have multiple pages.
Are you able to? Have you tried just starting a new Twitter?
Yeah.
Then?
Yeah, my co-host from the NASCAR show, he started doing. We haven't done that yet with DCPC because I feel like Elon might reinstate it. I would. There was no.
I mean, that dude gives no fucks either.
That's true. It's true. I just don't know if they care enough about us to reinstate us. So I'm gonna take it to the end of the year, I think, and then kind of reevaluate what we want to do with Twitter. But so it's just an interesting deal over there because the only thing we ever posted on Twitter was our episodes. Episodes out, hashtag check this out, and they booted the whole permanently suspended.
It's okay for like porn videos to be on Twitter, but you have two dudes
That's
talking. Drink a beer. Nope.
Look, sometimes we say some shit that probably is just way too real and skeptical to like, because like I'll preach this all the time. Like, I don't trust anything I see on social media. Like, I think it's all like satire and fear mongering, and like me just saying those words probably like
sends some alarms off.
Yeah, there's something out there. They're like, oh my god, he talked about.
It's always listening.
Yeah,
bro. Your phone's always listening.
Yeah,
that's true. That's true. And that's another thing with the TikTok deal, right? Because you guys were talking about, do you think that they're harvesting data and things of that nature? Look at this AI trend that's on right now. We're going to talk about this on Happy Friday that's coming out tomorrow.
So annoying.
Everyone's doing these AIs. What's your opinion on that? Because I have my own.
I haven't done it yet. I think it's girls trying to create more thirst traps so they can feel good about themselves personally. But
yeah,
you kind of stole the words out of my mouth.
Did I? Yeah. I think if you're a female quote unquote content creator, I think it's very easy in today's environment to blow up. And I think it's just because there's a lot of pervy dudes out there.
Yes.
And all it takes is just a couple of thirst traps and you get 100,000 followers overnight. But I think a lot of these trends are I think that shows a bigger problem in the United States, and we don't have to get into that, but it's like self-esteem issues. I think social media has really created a lot of mental health issues, and I think men and women are always trying to really appease the masses. They're trying to get reinforcement from their audience of, okay, I am attractive, or okay, I am funny, and I think that comes at a detriment of like they're always trying to get the approval of someone else as opposed to just being satisfied with who they are. I mean, me myself, I stopped caring what people think a long time ago. Full transparency, I used to be 100 pounds heavier than I am now. So I had a massive transformation from high school to college. That's when I lost 50 pounds between my junior and senior year, just in 2 months from laying irrigation pipe on a farm. And then I lost the other 30 to 50 pounds. It fluctuates, that last 20 from senior year to freshman year of college. And it was just like body dysmorphia. It's always of like, girls weren't looking at me at all until I lost weight. And then all of a sudden, like, oh, now I'm this dude you want to talk to. And then, of course, you just kind of deal with it. And then at a certain point, it's like, I really don't care what you think of me anymore. It's like, I have my circle of friends. I'm comfortable in my job, my own skin. I don't need to get your approval on anything. But I think a lot of teenagers or adults, I don't know, I call them kids, even though they're probably in their early 20s. I think they're constantly looking for validation from someone else. And I think that's why we have so many issues with mental health. And you see these mental health awareness campaigns are coming. And I think it's because we're creating a problem. It's like perpetual.
And profiting off it along the way.
Well, and I agree with that, Kev, profiting off of it for sure. And it's perpetuated intentionally Like, the more that you can create a divided populace, the more that you can create self-insecurity and all these other things, guess what? That creates more product sales opportunities and all this other shit. Like,
clothes.
Like, do you think, like, the people behind the curtain or the
Illuminati,
the huge corporations,
the elite,
do you think they want people to have personal sustained happiness?
No, God, no.
No, they don't.
Bad for business.
Yeah. So what the fuck? Like, and like it like I'll get pissed off about this shit, man, because it's really frustrating.
All right, well, we could pivot then. What?
No, it's good to talk about, though.
It's good like, to vent.
Yeah, we brought it up. Okay?
We got it out.
We did it.
So I would say, okay, so we all grew up in the 90s, since we're all late 80s babies. It's Christmas season. What is your all-time favorite Christmas movie or top 5? If you don't want to pigeonhole it to one.
That's a good question.
We'll go top 5.
Top 5? I mean,
right.
I'm going to come right out of the gate and go favorite Christmas movie, Home Alone.
Okay.
Certainly
So
the
that's
first
number one.
That's number one. I did a show on it last year about it. It was great. And I'm going to stick with that for the moment. We can keep moving around the table.
I'll count it backwards. I'll go from
You're going to go 5 to 1?
Yeah, I'll go 5 to 1.
Okay, so you're going to be way more prepared for this than I am. I want to throw some of the Grinch movies in there. I also like some of like the Santa Claus movies.
I'm gonna pigeonhole you. You can't go. I'm gonna throw it out there. You gotta go 5. What's your 5th all time favorite Christmas, or your first? You can go down to up or back forward.
I don't want to. I don't know too much. That's my problem. Like my instinct is just Die Hard. Like I want to just.
Is that first?
No,
is that...
but that's not actually it. That's
a
not
great
actually
movie, though.
it. But I don't know, man. How about you though? You sound like you got the list.
I would say I'm gonna go number 5 is probably Jingle All the Way.
Oh, that was going to be my top 5 if that came back to me.
Okay, he's got to think on it. You could Google. You could try and figure this out.
I don't. I don't pull up. I don't cheat. I'm just gonna fail.
You go and then I'll go.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So you go number 2 now. Then.
Okay. No, number 2 from Home Alone. Okay,
or
I
you
was
could,
going the other way.
you went 1. So let's go to 5 then for you.
Okay, number 2's got to be National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation or Christmas. Is it The Vacation? National Lampoon's Christmas.
Okay.
Chevy Chase.
All right. I'm gonna go probably Polar Express is number 4.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Man, that is a good one.
All right, this is on YouTube right now. I'm passing it back and forth.
Pressure's on now. Childhood Christmas movies. I mean, it's easy to, Christmas Story is before our time. But here's the thing: is I remember when they introduced the 24-hour play
on TBS, right?
And
or TNT. I can't remember which one. I think it was both actually.
And they would just keep running it. So I am going to put that in there. I'm going to put it in there.
3. I'm going with live action Grinch. It's number 3.
Okay.
With
Jim Carrey.
Yeah. That's a really good choice.
I'm going to go Ernest Saves Christmas. Gotta love Ernest.
Oh God, that's a good one. That's a good one. I think this might cause controversy. Number 2 for me is Elf.
Oh, Elf is a good one, man.
With Will Ferrell.
Will Ferrell, yeah.
Yeah,
I think
that is a good one.
I know it came out in 2003, but again, I was 15, so I still count that as a part of my childhood.
Sure.
But I have to watch Elf on Christmas Day. It's not Christmas without
Elf is
me
a
watching
good one.
that.
I would agree.
So that's
Yeah,
number
it is.
2 for me.
Okay.
So you're at number 4. Or no, 5.
Yeah, this will be my 5th because I did Home Alone. And so my final one is going to be the original Tim Allen, Santa Claus.
That is my number 1. The fact that that's number 5 is blasphemy. Blasphemy. That movie to this day is probably one of.
It's good.
Yeah, I would say it's in top 10 favorite movies of all time. I love that movie.
You got to have the
so
Christmas
much.
cheer to get the sleigh off the ground.
That's Elf.
Oh, that is Elf.
Oh, he's just
Fail.
blaspheming right now.
That's why I didn't even jump
He's
into
out.
this.
Art's
I
out.
would have fucked it
He's
all
not
up.
even jumping in the ring. I already fucked
I'm
up.
good.
Because that was with Zooey Deschanel, right? She was also an
Correct.
Elf? Okay. Yep. Don't trust my Christmas movie knowledge.
Dude, Tim Allen was great. Even the second one was good. The third one was garbage. I haven't watched the Disney Plus series that just came out. I will watch it because I love Tim Allen.
Did you watch the newest Home Alone?
No, because I heard it was such trash.
It's not that good. The only thing I liked about it was the fact that Buzz, the original Buzz, is now an adult and he's a cop.
Oh, that's cool.
That was the coolest part of the whole movie. I thought the rest of it was kind of...
Is Macaulay Culkin even in it?
Nope.
That's stupid.
Yeah, then what?
No.
Who's Home Alone? It should have been him home alone, super depressed as an adult in his apartment.
So then... What was I going to say? So then for Christmas, do you have any traditions that you had from your childhood? Because I have traditions from me growing up that I have to do on Christmas. So I grew up in a Mexican family. Christmas Eve, we did enchiladas and tamales for Christmas Eve dinner.
Delicious.
Then we had midnight mass. and then we open presents on Christmas Day. I'm a firm believer you only open presents on Christmas Day. Like none of this Christmas Eve or one present before Christmas Day.
I like that too. Even though the older I got, like with girlfriends and whatnot, just like, come on, let's open our gifts on Christmas Eve.
Be patient.
Yeah, so my family, we did all of the gifts from like my parents and everything, and from the family on Christmas Eve. And then we got our Santa Claus presents on Christmas.
So you had like 2 days to open gifts.
Yes.
Then. Did you feel like Christmas was a letdown though, because you had fewer presents to open?
No, because those were like the big gifts, right? So like you had fun opening everything on Christmas Eve, and then Christmas Day was like, what did Santa leave?
So you got like the trash gifts, like the wool socks on Christmas Eve, and then you're like, oh, I got the Ninja Turtles action figures that I wanted on Christmas Day.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
But you were Christmas Day.
I enjoyed that for sure. Growing up, I mean, we would open gifts on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
It was like you got to wait. You know.
Yeah.
You have to wait, and I think now looking back on that, I'm glad and fortunate that that's how it went. But like I said, once I got into my adult life and with girlfriends and stuff, it was like, no, just open it now. Let's open all our gifts the night before. Which.
Put your foot down, man. Just say no.
You get one, okay?
Yeah, one, maybe.
You get one.
And I've had enough to drink, maybe one.
And I get to pick it out too, so you don't accidentally grab that
That's
Joe
right,
Malone fucking perfume and shit.
What if you do the stockings? The stockings on Christmas Eve, gifts on Christmas.
So when I was a kid, my parents would always put clementines. That was tradition.
Mom
I would
always
always
did
get clementines in my
Those
stocking.
the orange chocolates?
No, it's an orange, Arthur. It's a small orange.
Clementines.
Oh,
Are you for real?
I was thinking about the orange flavored. I am.
No. Have you never had a clementine, a cutie?
I have.
Okay.
But I was thinking there was like
cuties. I don't even call them clementines.
The orange chocolate. What's the orange chocolate thing?
I know
called?
what you're talking about. It's the chocolate ball that breaks open.
Yeah, you break it up and it like
a Wonder Ball.
Is it a Wonder Ball?
Oh, I wonder what's in a Wonder Ball.
See, he's got it. Where you? Come on, Art. I think you need another beer. I think you need to catch up.
Maybe this is what's happening. Is I'm having a couple too many.
Bro, you seriously don't know what a clementine is?
No, I know what a clementine
It's a citrus
is, guys.
fruit.
I think he's trying to cover right now.
Okay, all right.
Wait, what am I covering? No, but you're making me red. This is red as your shirt.
Now that we've embarrassed Art enough.
So I had clementines one.
Okay.
And then
Toothpaste.
there'd be like, do you remember the gummy lifesavers? Like the giant box of gummy lifesavers that have like 6 packs of those in them? I would always have that. Probably like maybe the Reese's Christmas trees or some sort of Kit Kat in there. And then maybe some like Lip Smuckers. Do you remember the Lip Smuckers chapstick?
Yep.
I'd probably have like one of those in there. And maybe like some sort of small gift. But it was primarily all edible.
Mostly
chocolates.
edible. Mom would put like dental floss and stuff in mine, like some mouthwash, and then there was always the classic little candy cane that would hang on the side.
Yes,
of it.
with the Reese's peanut butter cups.
With the Reese's peanut butter cups.
So what do you think? Like putting nice gifts into the stocking, so it's like a surprise, like a necklace or something.
I think it's a letdown.
Is it?
I think you set the expectation too high. Of if you put a nice gift in a stocking, I'm the believer of like you gotta step it up every time you go. So if you put nice gifts in a stocking, then the presents that you get under the tree got to be better than whatever
that's
that
a good point.
is.
Yeah, because the stocking's just like, it's introductory.
Yeah,
like here's
you
some
gotta
cool
set the bar
stuff.
low. You don't want to put it up here because then you're just setting
That's
yourself
actually
up for
been
trouble.
an issue of mine before, bro. I go in too hard at the beginning.
Yeah,
this is true.
You set the bar too high too
So
soon.
then what was your Christmas dinner then?
We used to do honey ham, spiral ham. I mean, that was usually the go-to. We didn't really do turkey. I started doing prime
I hate
rib.
turkey. I'm not a fan of turkey.
Oh, you'd like my turkey.
Spatchcock turkey?
I spatchcocked it for
Smoked?
Thanksgiving and smoked it.
Be good.
Bro.
I fried a turkey for the first time this year.
That's good, too.
Fire.
See? Delicious.
But I'm still
So
not a fan of turkey.
you did enjoy turkey.
I enjoyed some aspect of turkey, but I had to deep fry it for
You
it
gotta
to be
take it back
enjoyable.
now.
That is
No.
like the fattest thing that we could say in America. Oh, I'll fry it and then it tastes
Just
good.
throw it in some hot oil.
What about you? What'd you do for family Christmas
I
dinner?
think it was like normally like a Christmas ham, like the honey baked ham, and like mashed potatoes, somewhat similar to Thanksgiving, like kind of some of the same spread, but not exactly the same. But then I always love it when you can go in and just like get Chinese or something, or
That's always fun.
do something
Take
like
some of the stress off. Remember what I did last year? You were at my Christmas dinner. I smoked the prime rib.
Yeah, I was going to say my family was always just a prime rib.
I gotta be honest. I love prime rib, but I also don't. I don't know. It's a weird thing. Like I've smoked it, I've baked it, I've eaten it in a lot of different ways, and it's always just like this cool red center. No matter how much, it's like bare. It just always stays red. The horseradish sauce definitely adds a little bit of that flavor, but prime rib I don't feel like is Maybe I've just been fucking it up this whole time. I don't know, but it's just not as good as I feel like it should be.
I love prime rib. I
Really?
love rare meat. Yeah, that's personal preference. But yeah, now was your family one to go to the movie theaters on Christmas Day?
No.
Yeah,
No, we usually would play with our gifts.
Maybe a couple times, like we did that. Like one, it was never a tradition.
So I was lucky enough when we moved back to Colorado. My dad's entire side of the family, he had 3 brothers and sisters, so I had about like 15 cousins. Like we'd all go to my grandparents' house for Christmas Day. So we do our celebration in our own home, open up our presents from Santa, then go to grandparents to then collectively do the gifts from the White Elephant Exchange or whatever. And that was a thing. It's like you'd have like parents would drink mimosas, they'd get tipsy, and then it was like, oh, it's midday after naps. What are we going to do before dinner? How do we keep these kids entertained?
Go to a movie.
Let's just all go to a movie. So that was, I know that's for some traditions. That's not something I like to do anymore.
On Christmas Day, huh?
Yeah, it's never.
I've never done it on Christmas Day, no.
That seemed to be such a popular thing when I was growing up. So then what was the best gift you ever got as a kid on Christmas?
Oh, that's a tough one. I've had some good ones. I'm up thinking that in a minute. I mean, the first thing that pops to mind is I always wanted to be a meteorologist.
Okay.
My whole life. And
Did you get a telescope then?
No, I got a whole weather kit. I mean, it measured barometric pressure. It measured rainfall. It was this badass thing, and it was all Bluetooth and everything. This was like back in the early 2000s. So like this was like high-end technology
That's
stuff.
awesome.
Like National Weather Service type stuff. And I remember being like, this is incredible. I can now, and I became a weather watcher for my hometown with all this equipment. That one jumps out the most.
That just makes me think of the old school Weather Channel. Do you remember where it would just have the like
Local on the 8s.
Yeah, just the worst text of the white and then the scroll at the bottom.
It would like lose itself within the background and stuff occasionally.
We can see 3 to 5 inches of snowfall. Yeah.
And it's like, here's the weather in New York City. And you're like, I'm in Denver. What do I care?
What was your favorite Christmas gift growing up?
I got some epic Lego sets. I had a huge Lego collection, like the Wild Wild West Lego collection. I remember I had this massive fort. Of course, I got Pokemon stuff when I was a kid too. I'm trying to think of what. I got a Donatello tricycle when I was like 6 years old. That sticks with me to this day. Probably my first bike I got was a Ninja Turtles bike. I know there's some cool stuff you got older with like video games and stuff, but that one definitely hits home. It was cool.
So there's one Christmas where it was like Spider-Man the animated series was out.
Yeah.
And I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. And I was getting a lot of those toys, and like, like they sell like the building set.
Yeah.
Like so you could play on that and stuff. And I'll just always remember that Christmas, like, breaking out those toys and like, going through the hallways, acting like Spider-Man was like swinging through the hallway. You're
awesome.
like doing like.
Did you ever have that canister with like the silly string that you could fire?
My little cousin did, but that thing was like you would run out so quick. Like it never lasted long enough for how much everything costed.
I miss silly string. I haven't seen silly string
Silly
in a
string
long
was a
time.
lot of fun. Used to goof off
Probably
with that
has
for sure.
some environmental agency
Yeah,
negative effects. That's probably why you don't see it.
Well, it's made
anymore.
with real cancer.
Yeah, sure. It's asbestos. It can't. It's just shooting at
Yeah,
you.
you're going to have mesothelioma from your Spider-Man shooter.
Not enjoying life? Well, just get the Spider-Man shooter. You end that a little sooner.
Oh. So then, did you have any collections as a kid besides Spider-Man? It sounds like Spider-Man was like yours, or was it Marvel Universe?
So this is one of my biggest hardships of life, actually, is because my parents, they divorced, and so I was doing the 2 week there, 2 week there thing, so back and forth, and I had this one box of toys, and it was like the 44 scale, like army guys, and it was all World War II, and they would like bend at the hip, and the arms would move.
Yeah.
But then they also had Star Wars toys, which were the exact same size. And so I had like all these tanks, planes, Star Wars spaceships, and like they were all, and like I used to play with, and I lost that box.
Oh, no.
At one point in time.
Did you just like break down?
I'm still upset.
Yeah.
I am still upset about that. I was like 17 years ago, and it still bothers me.
To this day.
It does, man. Like if I had that, but that's just life. Like sometimes we lose things that mean something to us.
Yeah.
But you are an amazing conversationalist. You've been asking some great questions. We do have a question to ask you, too.
Yeah.
And we like to ask this to every single guest that comes on.
Let's go.
You didn't get to hear my favorite collection.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Kevin.
Arthur, terrible
No,
hosting
no,
job
you go,
tonight.
you
This
go.
is absolutely unacceptable.
No, we're
Collection, let's hear it.
We're co-hosting, so you've done a horrible job, too.
Thank you. So my favorite collection growing up was my 164 Matchbox Hot Wheels, and my NASCAR cars, because I've been a NASCAR fan my whole life, hence why I do a NASCAR
Did you have
show.
the battery-powered racetracks?
Had it all, bro. I had it all. I had any sort of racing toy. That was where my eye was. I'd circle it. My parents would, back, they're like, what do you want for Christmas? Just circle everything in the catalog.
That's right. That JCPenney catalog that came through.
JCPenney
Or the Sears
hitter.
catalog.
I'd start circling stuff. I'd cut stuff out. I'd paste it on paper. I'm like, this is what I want.
Mail to Santa, North Pole.
Yes.
Santa better
Definitely
bring me
did
this
that.
right now.
Definitely did that. So like my cars, I think were really cool. And I know you mentioned earlier your aunt owned a
Comic
book
shop.
store.
Mhm.
My aunt owned a toy store.
Oh.
And so we would get, at cost, all these cool things. I was constantly getting hooked up with the 164 and the 124 diecast cars, NASCAR.
Dang.
Hands down, favorite collection growing up. I had so many. I've gotten rid of them over the years, but kept the ones that I still love.
I got a super embarrassing collection, and I'll share because I've shared it on my page.
Yes.
I have the most absurd Beanie Baby collection that you could
yeah.
possibly
I
imagine.
got into that for a little
Taking
bit.
up like a whole wall, or
Dude,
like
I have. Okay, so like the tubs. So imagine
Like
the
the
size
totes?
of that fridge. Add another maybe 6 inches and that depth. I have 6 Rubbermaid containers
Full of Beanie Babies.
of Beanie Babies, and I have like the rare ones. Like I have Princess Diana. I have some of the Halo ones. Like people I see all over the internet. Like, oh, these are worth so much, and then some are like, nah, it's not worth anything at all. I've kept them. I was like, I should have kept all the Pokemon shit. 'Cause, yes, like that's where the money was at, but I'm just gonna hold it like a stock. Hopefully, in like 20 years,
Gain
maybe
some
they'll be
value.
like
It'll come
super
back around.
value.
They still have the little TY little tag on it.
I'm
You gotta
such a
keep the tag
nerd.
on that.
I'm such a
Yeah.
nerd. Like I have it in some of them in the glass cases, and then the plastic tag protector with
Oh,
it
yeah.
in the glass case. So it's like double.
the tag protector.
No, that's
case
that's how I'm with my
inside the
diecast.
case.
I'm so ridiculous, but I'm just like fingers crossed, holding out that at some point they're gonna be worth some kind of money. Hopefully one day if I have kids, like I can sell them and pay for college. But
Small fortune, yeah.
we'll see. I don't know. It hasn't happened yet, so I'm not gonna hold my breath.
That's what I'm hoping for too with my diecast. I mean, I have some that are in the original packaging, never even open.
That's
I never even
cool.
got to race them
Aren't
around.
Hot Wheels like? I thought Hot Wheels are super valuable.
They are, yeah. Hot Wheels definitely in Matchbox. They both
Matchbox
hold
cars, yeah.
Matchbox cars, and then these diecasts. I mean, as long as they're in the original packaging, that's what's going to hold
It's
some
just
value.
crazy because you think about that, like going back, like I had all this stuff, and if I would have just never played with it, but then you think,
or even just kept
yeah.
it. Like even if you play, like it's crazy. Like some of the used toy market, like you could still sell some of that stuff for a crazy amount of money.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only way it's going to hold value in the future is because, I mean, everything's changed in the way kids are entertained now. I
Yeah.
mean, they're not going to race around cars like I did.
NFTs.
Maybe they will, right? NFTs are
That,
big.
that came and went like a flash in the pan. I
It-
Yeah,
it's-
dude,
didn't
that
it?
market crashed.
I never
And
got on
laughed
board with that.
So
I
hard
knew that
at
shit
all
was
these
gonna
people.
flop.
Yeah, and blockchains and
Yeah,
things of
now
that nature.
cryptocurrency is like folding like a.
It's-
And was it Sam Bankford is like facing serious jail time?
Well, that was a major,
coming.
major conspiracy there. And of course,
It's
and he
hilarious.
fucked a lot of people over.
Yeah, he
I mean, it was,
like
he was a Ponzi scheme.
$265 million in Bahamian real estate. Now the Bahamas are like, we want it back.
Yeah, he
he was in Congress today, but
Yeah, that's a whole nother
you
can
had a
of
question.
worms.
What's the question? I want to hear this.
Oh no! So the question here, and I usually ask Kevin. This time you get it.
Okay, I'll take the question this week. So we like to ask all of our guests, if you
Okay.
could offer one piece of advice to humanity that'll better everyone's lives tomorrow, what would that piece of advice be?
Should I be like funny? Should I be serious? I'm trying to think.
Whatever comes to
this
mind.
is I'm just outward dialogue right now.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was Robin Williams who said this, but I don't. It's been said so many times. If you could be anything, be kind. And I mean, I truly believe that. I think we have so much hate and divisiveness in this world, and just like we were talking about earlier, right? We have so much negativity. Like people are just mean to each other nowadays, just to be mean, like for no reason. And I think if people were just like kind, and I think that goes back to nostalgia. Like I remember, I lived in a small town too, 5,000 people. We would literally have neighborhood barbecues where we would invite the entire town to our place. Like
would just hang out.
everybody knew each other. Everybody knew their kids. Like everybody felt comfortable around each other. You didn't worry about like your kid can't go spend time at that person's house, or oh, they're going to get in trouble. Maybe that was more of like a rural thing too. I think living in the country, there was some dichotomy relative to say living in the city, but I don't know. I think we lost that just as a society. Like I find myself as like a nice person, but then I'm in sales and I find myself like, I hate people. Like I don't want to
So
talk to anyone.
I
what
agree.
would be like a couple small examples? Like, so anyone listening could apply it to be kind to people like on a day-to-day like fashion? Like what would be a couple examples that you have?
Dude, I think just smiling at people. Like people don't smile anymore. If I'm walking down like a grocery aisle and I see like an older woman walk by, I'll just look around, just flash a big smile. And like you could see it in their face, like it just immediately
they'll smile back.
Yeah, they'll brighten up, and they're like. I think people are like afraid of like, oh, if I extend something nice. I think it all comes down to rejection. Like I think if someone smiles at someone and they get a look, I think that just turns them off to ever being nice again. You know, I came from a conservative family. I grew up on a ranch. So again, it was traditional values of like always opening the door. Like if I see an older person walking towards like a convenience store, grocery store, whatever, if it's not automatic and it needs to open a door, I'll open a door. Yeah. If I see someone in a parking lot who's older,
help with the groceries.
Like I'll ask because I always ask. I don't want to assume because I know in nowadays and age people are like
people freak out.
Yeah, I'm just like, hey, do you need help? And most of the times I get told no, but after that they're like, it really means a lot that you even asked just to help me out. And I think it's just small stuff. Like people just put in such minimal effort. I think it would make a huge difference. But I think it also comes down to, do people have values? Nowadays, I think that could be lost. I don't know. It's hard to say what people identify with it within values these days. I don't know if it's been lost. People just don't care.
Yeah.
I mean, you see it on the internet. People hate each other for what? Like,
yeah. What are they accomplishing?
Nothing.
No, spinning your wheels.
That's what I would say. If you could even just be 1% kinder, you'll probably. There. I mean, what is it? We heard it as kids. Like it takes more energy to frown than to smile.
Right.
Like
that is
more
true.
muscles to frown than smile. So it's a smile.
Yep.
Shit. Like any day above ground's a good day. At least that's what I think.
I agree with that.
But you have to like earn that mentality, right? Because everyone goes through like a hard time, and some days, and I'm only speaking from experience because I had a lot of gray days. I'm on the other side of that. I'm on the sunshine now. But like, so if anyone's out there dealing with that, you know, maybe something that could bring light into your day is if you actually be kind to others. Because when you're selfless and you're kind to others, it creates this energy of like, you know what, like you have to kind of risk it a little bit, right? Because you're putting yourself on the limb to extend courtesy. And like you said, like sometimes people won't reciprocate that, and so it could be discouraging. But you still got to do it, you know, and you can't let somebody's discouragement or non-reciprocation discourage you from putting it on the line. And if you're like in a bad place yourself and you find yourself being kind to other people, maybe you don't treat yourself good, but then through treating other people good, you can kind of learn how to be nicer to yourself too. So like, I mean, that's great advice. Be kind, more kind in general, like to yourself and to others, because I'm all about holding the doors for people. And it's weird because it throws some people off. Like even before you got here, like I was hot, so I just went and stood outside. It's like cold as hell outside, so I just stood outside to cool off. And I saw this lady. She was like carrying a box. She was walking out of the building, and I went to go hold the door for her, and she like stopped. Like, am I trying to come in? And I was like, oh no, I'm holding the door for you. Like I'm just.
It's such an awkward situation now because it's like it's not expected.
Yeah.
Like it's weird, and of course there's like people who find it as a sign of disrespect of like, oh, I don't need you to hold the door open to me, which is a whole nother thing. But
yeah,
to your point, yeah, I think I don't know. I developed thick skin because I was fat as a kid. Like I got made fun of all the time. I moved 15 times before I was 12 years old because my dad was in the military. So if I wasn't an extrovert, I wouldn't have friends. That really helped me later on in life to just continuously put myself out there. I was always in elementary school, I was at a different school every grade.
Wow,
so
that's tough.
Yes, it was tough, and that's probably attributed to my weight gain because I stress eat like a mofo. But every time I go to a new school, have to congregate and immerse myself in. I appreciate that I can strike a conversation with anyone. Like I can talk to anyone at any place and be like, at the end of the conversation, they feel like they're my best friend, what have you. So I appreciate that, but it was difficult. But being fat as a kid, they said mean, horrific. Like kids are mean, man. Dude, like if the meanest people I think are 12 and under. Like for real, they are so brutal. And it just is like, okay, if that didn't break me, I made it through that. I can get through anything. Like I had a personal situation. Like I was once engaged I got left 6 weeks before our marriage date for another dude. Completely blindsided. And I was like, and that was probably my lowest point. It's like, dude, this is the worst. And it's like, man, I've suffered through that. I've suffered through all these other trials. Like, nothing's going to break me. And it was like, and you have, I think, breaking points where you're either going to go all in or you give up. And it's just like, once you cross that threshold, you're pretty much invincible. Like life's going to be shitty. Like, I think my boss who was in the Marines, he's like, life is all about challenging you, and your life's going to suck for the most part, but it'll give you moments that you can appreciate that have you keep going. And I was like, man, that's a good way to look at it. If you just set the expectation of like, it's going to be hard, but there's going to be moments that are like, wow, this is what it's all about. I think life gets easier as a whole because I think people just set themselves mentally to fail. They're just like, they have it up here, and if it doesn't go exactly that way. I used to be a person of like, I could have a day where 95% of the day went exactly how it went or how I envisioned it would go and how I wanted it to go. And if I had 5% that didn't go my way, I'd be the most depressed person. Like that's crazy. Yeah. I'd hole up. I'd be like, this sucks. This day was shitty. There was nothing great about this day. And and it's like looking back, it's like, what do you mean? Like 95% of the day went exactly how you wanted it to go, but you dwell on such a minute thing and you're going to let that ruin your whole day, week, life. And I was immature for a long time with that mindset. And it finally came to a realization of like, appreciate the stuff that went well and don't dwell on the negative, because you'll just bury yourself. And it sucks. You don't want to be that person. Yeah. But it's hard. Some people have mental disorders.
Everybody's challenged with that. Even like the most confident person is going to question from time to time, like, am I doing the right thing?
Yeah.
Right? And like it's such a delicate battle within our own consciousness of, you know, finding our own the acceptance of ourselves.
Yeah.
Like it's difficult. It's difficult to find that.
Or to figure out who you are, right? Where it's like, okay, I'm on this path. Is this my path? Where it's like, I question that every day. It's like, is my career that I'm currently in, is that really what I was put on planet Earth to do? And it's like an identity crisis. And I don't think I'm at a midlife crisis yet, but it's like every day it's like, man, was I really just meant to do this job that I'm in now? Should I switch it up? Am I too old to switch it up? Should I go all in with that? If that fails, like, you just play mental games. Like, you'll go down a rabbit hole so fast, but it's hard. I think it's hard for a lot of people, especially you throw kids on top of that. You throw relationship issues. Our parents are getting older, so like mom and dad's dying is a real thing now, and it's just like, man, there's so much that could break you. And I think that's the toughest thing, is finding resiliency with all this negativity, especially when you have people depending on you. Yeah. Luckily, I don't have kids that depend on me at this point, so it's easier for me. But, man, if you're a parent right now, that's got to be just so difficult. I can't even imagine.
Yeah, I don't want any part of it. Never have, never will.
You don't want kids?
No.
At all?
Nuh-uh.
You have an excuse to buy more Hot Wheels.
See, he gets it.
I'm waiting to have kids so I can buy every Lego set ever. Like, I have
and be a
just
kid again with a kid.
I'm waiting for it.
You don't even let them build it. You're like,
no, Dad's got this. Like, go sit down. You'll be fine.
I'm like, come on, Dad, let me put the thing on. No, I got it.
It goes here, son.
Yeah.
Or daughter.
Or daughter.
And that's fun. I mean, I have a lot of great friends that have young kids, so I kind of get to play an uncle role, which is fine for me. I'm just a very selfish person, and I value my time.
Yeah.
And that includes relationships. I feel better off on my own. You know, and that's just kind of how it goes. But yeah, to your point, people are dealing with a lot of stuff, and it piles up. You know, kids, work issues, what have you. And you know, the old thing, you know, wait till you get older, wait till you get older. We heard that how many times when we were in our teens.
I hate it.
You know, I complained about the stupidest shit in my teens, and I was bullied. You know, so I kind of can relate to that a little bit. That's where some of my anger problems came from. But you know, again, it took, like, you know, we were saying 21-year-olds, we look at them as kids now. We're in our mid-30s, and I feel the same way. Cause
I feel so old when I think
that. I do too. You know, but I was such a dumbass when I was 21. I'm still kind of a dumbass, but I'm like getting a little bit better.
Isn't it amazing to look back at some of the things you did as a teenager and you're like, how am I still alive?
There's times where I'll think back on things that I did, and it, like, I almost makes my face red 15 years later, being like,
oh yeah,
that's horrible.
My first car in high school was a 1970 302 Boss Mustang.
Oh yeah.
And fire engine red, I got 3 tickets in my first week of driving, so I lost my license.
3 tickets in the first week?
Yeah, first week.
Lost your license?
Yeah, I lost my license immediately.
That was too much freedom.
But I remember it's like, man, I was driving on dirt roads 85 miles an hour on a car that didn't have power steering, and I'm just like, how am I still alive today from some of the dumb shit we did as kids? What was the first drink that got you drunk in high school? Or did you wait till college to get drunk?
No, I got started pretty early. So the first time I was ever drunk was off Corona.
Nice.
And
I feel like that's a lot of people's like intro beer.
Yeah, for whatever reason, it was Corona. I was at a party. I still remember it very well. I ended up throwing up into his bathroom sink because I could not make it to the toilet, which was 3 feet farther, and the whole sink was full of vomit. And that was off like a 6-pack of Corona in sophomore, junior year, maybe.
Nice.
So then I was scooping out my debris from my stomach into the toilet.
Oh, that sounds
so. That's
like
my first experience being drunk.
What about you?
So I don't remember my first experience being drunk, but I will describe my first time with Bob Marley, the marijuana plant.
Okay.
And
Devil's lettuce.
It was sophomore year of high school.
Okay.
And on Wednesdays there was this you started a little bit later in the day. I forget what the term was for it, but it was like a block day or something.
Okay.
I forget what they called it. But so we
block days, right? Where it was like periods, even periods, and then odd periods.
Yeah, it did something. So some of my friends were token, and they had weed, and they're like, "Hey, you want to go smoke pot before school?" And I was like,
"Before school?" So it was like in the morning.
In the morning, first thing in the morning.
Terrible idea.
And so I was like, yeah, I had made that decision already. Like I was like, I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try weed. And so I hadn't done it yet, and we went out to this field that was pretty close to the school. It was like an acre and a half away or something, and in this gully, in this ditch, and within this ditch there was some drainage pipes and stuff, and you could go into the drainage pipes and so you're crawl you're walking through they're like the 4 foot.
The metal ones that are graded, right?
Well, not back then. They weren't graded. You could get in there. And then there was this one section where there was a ladder that would climb up to a manhole, right? And so that was an access point to get in there, but we would go into the sewer system or whatever and then climb up this area and then hang out in this little section where the manhole was. And so that's where
you were incognito.
That's
007.
Yeah, that's where I smoked my first bowl.
And it was probably dark.
And yeah, I mean, it was a little dark. We probably
there was
had
no cell phones with flashlights that you could light shit up.
I forget. I think we were using lighters.
Just a lighter.
Actually.
Really? Just
old school.
And I remember walking after we smoked. I felt so suspicious. And then
just
and
I'm
then
gonna get in
school
trouble.
started, and the main hallway in the school was so much bigger that day. And so I recall that I made it through the day. But that's life. We have to try things as we're, and you have to experience things. That's how you figure out, it's crazy because I'm 35, and how much I've matured over, the last 2 years is astronomical to where I was even, 3 years ago or whatever. And it's just interesting looking back and to kind of, full circle this. That's why I feel like what you're doing has this level of attention and is so important. Because as we grow older, we've done fucked up things, we've had horrible experiences, but you're bringing up the stuff that when we were younger
brought us joy. Yeah.
And so we support your mission here, for sure, at Discussion Combustion, and you're a network partner now, so you're gonna stay in our wheelhouse. And
I want to come back.
Yeah,
if you guys will have me, I'll definitely come back.
We'll get you back, man.
Repeat guest is a big thing around here, for sure.
Now to round up that last one. So my first beverage that I got wasted off of and only took 2 shots was Bacardi Limon. I don't know if you remember that. It was the nastiest tasting rum, but I remember going
it's
to
still in the market.
A ditch party junior year, and I took 2 or 3 shots, and then I had a mixed drink with that and Sprite. To this day, I can't drink Bacardi Limon
or any rum.
No, Bacardi Limon and Bacardi Raz. Just the smell will just create a god.
This,
ugh.
That's how I am with vodka. I got sick as hell on vodka.
What, Burnett's or what?
No,
was it McCormick's?
It was actually high. It was Grey Goose.
Oh,
really? So the nice stuff.
Yep, I absolutely annihilated when I was 19 years old. My brother was in town.
Red Bulls, vodka Red Bulls,
I was literally just chugging vodka.
Oh, dog,
so I was 19.
Vodka straight, man. It doesn't matter.
No,
I could drink the Sky flavor, like the
Sky vodka.
like the was it the orange Sky or
Yeah.
any of those flavored
The
vodkas? I could
blood
do.
orange shit?
Yeah, I could do that straight, but like, dude, just
straight vodka, man.
Ugh.
I can't.
or Sailor Jerry's. Remember that?
Sailor
Yes.
Jerry's is rough.
Yes.
Any of those liqueurs like Tawaka, any of that stuff, I can't do it. It's too sweet. Hypnotic? No, it's not my thing.
Did you drink Bud Lights in college? Oh, I know we want Bud Light as a sponsor, but what was your go-to like cheap beer in college?
I was a Budweiser guy.
Really?
Yeah. So after my Corona night, I got into Budweiser because the guy I was living with at the time was a Bud Heavy guy.
Oh my god!
And so I drink
Who
Budweiser.
drinks Bud Heavies? Like,
Bro.
I don't even see that.
Oh yeah, I was a good old hillbilly drinking some Bud Heavies. I drank that my whole 20s into my early 30s, and then
I mean, we were still drinking that when we started this podcast.
that's true.
Bud
Budweiser
Heavies?
Yep.
Oh my gosh!
They're good. I mean, it's a great beer. It was too heavy, and it was starting to reflect my health a little bit.
I was a Bush Latte, like Bush Light. Or no, not Bush Light. Keystone Light.
Oh, that's college beer.
Dude,
I mean,
I could get
beer
for
pong period.
you could get a
Yeah.
30 rack for $18
Yeah.
in what was it 2007 2008. So
Oh, yeah.
whenever you threw a college,
Everyone
it's
would
like
just chip in.
You get $45. You have 330 racks. And
That's plenty.
It was the worst
And then
tasting beer.
you would still kill it. You'd still kill all those in one night.
Because you'd play beer pong, or you'd dude that.
Now, were you like beer pong player that would play with the beer in the cups?
Correct.
So like you're drinking
Correct.
the floor.
You're drinking
debris,
like
dog
lint,
shit.
Yeah, everything like.
That's the way to do it. They don't do it that way anymore.
that's
No,
how
they do
you-
water.
Yeah, that's how
and
you
then they
boost
have like
your
a
immunity.
like a vodka cup or whatever,
And
and
they're
they
just
sip on it.
yeah.
Yeah, like
Sip on
no, like or you could do death pong where you did like 30 cups versus 30 cups. God, drinking games. King's. What was your best drinking game?
I mean, beer. I'm retired from beer pong. I won a lot of games. I don't play anymore. That was definitely the go-to.
He went out on top.
I don't know. The flip cup is pretty fun. I mean,
I wasn't good at
there's
it.
a lot of fun. Like King's Cup is
King's
fun.
Cup was my
Like,
all-time.
King's Cup-
There's a lot of fun
favorite.
ones, man.
Because isn't that the one where it would just turn into like a black lagoon, as we call
Oh,
it, where just
yeah.
everything gets poured into it?
But you had the cards, so you put the playing cards, and then each card would have some sort of reference of like Thumb Master or
Yeah, yeah.
like antlers or what have you. But yeah, by
But
the end
the
of the
drink,
night,
it would just be a
like,
mess. It was like jungle juice.
Because someone would have like a vodka Red Bull, then you'd have Budweiser, and then you'd have like just the most disgusting drink. And then
Yeah,
if
someone
you
would have
pull
to
that
drink it.
last king, then
You drink
your
it.
life is worthless.
I think I played that once or twice, and I was like, I don't think this is for me.
Yeah, I quit those kind of games a long time ago. Like, you hit a certain age at one point where you're just like,
Never. I refuse.
I'm allowed to say no, and I don't care what kind of peer pressure exists. Like, I just don't give a shit anymore.
Yeah, at this age, it doesn't matter. Who are we trying to impress? I got a beer belly now, like whatever.
I don't even remember the last time I played beer pong. That makes me so sad.
I did come out of a couple retirement games in the past few years, but I just don't. Now I play against these like 21-year-olds and they whip my ass. When I was 21, I could rip elbows.
Did you
and
ever
shit.
do like the fancy bounces, like table
yeah.
ceiling down?
Oh, yeah.
Or the double bounce.
Oh, Doug, I would always be bouncing on people, and they would never expect it. That was
because
that was fun.
they'd be like talking, and then you just go,
Oops.
Yeah,
oh,
and-
2 cups.
Yep, 2 cups.
So
Let's go.
Saudi drink.
And then what was it? If you get a bounce back, you do the behind the back.
Yep. And then you get the rebuttals where you just kind of keep going until you miss.
Oh yeah, fuego. So you
Yeah,
keep shooting.
on fire.
Oh my god,
Yeah. Good stuff.
I loved it.
mean, good times.
Where'd you go to college? Did you go to college?
I minored in alcohol and I majored in women.
Okay,
And
nice.
And
Solid.
that was at Redneck University.
Okay, I like it.
I almost got my associate's degree at Arapahoe Community College here in
Okay.
Denver. So, but education is something that is you learn it, all right? Like, and you don't have to go to an institution to be able to get knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
And so I completely support anyone out there that is willing to work. But I don't know. That's a whole nother can of worms there. Is like, working right after high school or going to college, is it worth it? Is it not? Like, everyone has a different story there.
I think nowadays it's probably not worth it with how expensive college is. When you think of like people who do the numbers, is like, man, I put myself $300,000 in debt, and then I look at like what is the total payments after interest of what I paid versus. I trade schools, highly support trade schools,
Yes,
like Mike
that's
Rowe.
what I would recommend, too.
He talks about as like HVAC guys, plumbers,
yeah.
electricians. You go to a year and a half of like an apprenticeship in like a trade school. Those guys are making 150K like
Yeah.
right out the bat, which is more than what a lot of people make getting a college degree.
true.
Like you
It's
go to
true.
college and you'll get like a 40, 60,000 paying job, which I'm not knocking on, but it's like you paid $400,000 to a school to get a $60,000 job, and then you're going to have this debt for
ever
20 years, 25 years.
It's almost like buying a home. Like you're like pulling out a 30.
It is.
death and taxes.
And then how are you going to pay? And then it's like, man, you have this debt. How are you ever going to get a mortgage, especially with the way housing is in Colorado, which is absurd
true, man.
now. But I don't know. I'm with you. Like, it's going to be tough to see in the next, like, 18 years when I have kids, if it's like, am I going to advocate for them to go to college? Is it even worth it at that point?
Yeah, there's a lot that's going to happen between now and then.
I'm going to just
Sports?
force them to play sports so they can get a scholarship and I don't have to pay for shit.
Yeah, or get them into the entertainment business or influencers early.
That's right.
Some of these guys are
Have
starting
you seen
early.
that? Okay, like not to go off, but it's like some of these people place their newborns on TikTok.
Yeah.
I saw a video of like a newborn. They had one video. Their first video got like 30 million views, and then this baby already has like 800,000 followers. And
It's unreal.
Like, man, you think about that child. If they keep it with this child, by the time that kid's like 8 years old, 10 years old, they're going to be making 6, 7
They'll already be retired.
figures. Or that one, was it the one kid on YouTube that does toy reviews? Have you?
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen this kid? So this kid started like in 2011, 2012 as like a 4-year-old, 5-year-old. Their parents were filming him opening different types of toys, and then he reviewed the toys, and he amassed this huge following. Like 3 years ago, he's the #1 earner on YouTube, made $25 million from his YouTube channel.
That's crazy.
As a
Unreal.
7-year-old. And I'm just like, man, what is that family issue going to be later on when it's like, oh, I'm 18 and I want all my earnings, and the parents are probably going to be like,
Nope.
you're going to run into a Britney Spears
Yeah. Oh my
conservatorship.
No kidding.
But it's just like, man, that kid's set for life at
That
7
kid
years
was-
old.
That
7
kid was
years
your
old.
breadwinner.
Yeah, for the parents.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
if I'm,
what-
parents.
a mom and dad, like, it's like, what am I taking as far as my cut right now? But
like, hopefully they're like putting a lot of that aside so they can set that person
I'm sure
up.
they're savvy if they're making
Yeah.
$25 million a year from branding and marketing their kid. But then it's like, is that really
could be
your
bad.
child, or is this like you're just using this as a means to an end? Like,
Oh, it's like,
I
a
would
lot
say
like what
social
Britney went
media is a
through.
dangerous game, but it's crazy. It's like, man, I wish I was 7 years old pulling in $25 million.
Oh, sure.
Oh my god.
Like I can get whatever I want.
Yeah. Yeah, I think back to when all of us were growing up watching the Weather Channel or watching, Doug, Rugrats, all the shows we grew
Miss
up with,
Doug.
right? We didn't have the opportunity to create these videos and instantly post them.
Bob
I mean,
Saget, R.I.P.
Bob Saget, R.I.P., AFV,
Yeah,
new season's
AFV
out. I'm trying to
classic,
catch up on
yeah.
that. I love that stuff, man.
When you watch those old videos, they're hilarious.
They're
Still to this day.
Oh,
You
yeah.
can watch
God,
old
classics.
American Funniest Home Videos. I love it.
The voice that he would
Classics.
do, like when he was, trying to mimic the animal or something that was in the video, classic. I mean, Bob Saget
It's
was
crazy
such a
he
talent.
died from falling out of a bathtub.
Yeah, he hit his head on the shower. Is
Can you
what they
imagine?
say.
Like like
You got to be careful at all. Like life.
it's fleeting.
Yeah.
Like the fact is,
delicate.
like, yeah, you slip
It's
in a
always trying to
hotel
get us.
bathroom, and that's your
how you
obituary.
go
I
out.
feel so angry.
At a
That's the way
hotel
I
in
died.
Florida, after a show.
Like, give me like
I
a
wouldn't
hippo
mind
in
just.
the-
I wouldn't mind just being like one of those. I just disappeared. Like no one knows what the fuck happened.
Yeah,
like
but
So,
I
so
just,
then everyone's gonna create a conspiracy
yeah,
about
like
what happened.
Arthur's still alive type of shit.
Oh, like some Tupac thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, like you just.
Or it's just like
disappear.
UFOs. Like, man, like I don't know why it started showing up on my FYP, but I got like conspiracy theorists all the time now. It's like giants exist, skinwalkers exist, like UFOs. It's just like, I mean, I don't know. Nothing would surprise me.
I've heard
at this
about
point.
all those conspiracies actually.
Well,
It wouldn't surprise
yeah.
me.
We have a lot of evidence coming in, even from the Pentagon, on UFOs
yeah.
now.
Yeah.
They're like, oh yeah, that video in 2015 by those two F-17
Yeah.
fighter pilots.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
like, what
it's,
is this?
it's real.
Dude,
yeah.
okay, so look, we can keep going, and it's so interesting because I listened to this whole interview of these fucking Navy pilots.
Yeah, the pilots.
Yeah,
and he filmed it with his iPhone.
Well, no, it was a different interview, and they were talking about how there's like this 200-mile buffer from the coastline that the Air Force protects, and this and that, and how like once they upgraded the radar systems, like all of a sudden there was all these bogeys just right outside of this 200-mile perimeter, and it was constantly there. It was always there, and like they weren't moving like normal aircraft, and like we could go off on that, but it's.
I love
It's
the alien
it's
UFO
interesting.
rabbit holes. I've listened to a couple of Joe Rogan's podcasts and the guys that he's had on, and it's just like, man, some of the declassified files of like other militaries are shooting at aircrafts and they're not ours and they're not theirs, and everybody's like,
Who is it?
what's going on?
Yeah. Yeah, that's one thing I love about Rogan, is he's not afraid to bring anybody and everybody on. He's put himself at risk of getting canceled so many times.
And
but Joe,
Spotify's like, nah.
they're like, fuck now. They're laughing all the way to the bank. I mean, that's What did they have to
He's
lose?
got what? Like he's probably got like 200 million subscribers or something to his Spotify.
Yeah, I mean, he's pulling, the most recent stat I've seen, it going up against like Fox News and CNN, he outperforms them by 600% on viewership weekly.
That's insane.
Yeah.
On mainstream
How great of
media.
a life. You just talk to interesting people. They could be completely crazy, but you just like hear
But
their
people hate 'em.
perspective and then smoke weed. Oh, yeah.
Again, here's a guy that's super successful, most successful podcaster of all time, makes the most money of any podcaster of all time, and people fucking hate him. I mean, to the point where they've asked me if I'm a Rogan supporter and then won't talk to me if I say yes.
Yeah, and we've had to pull people like, I remember that night, like people were like, do you like Rogan? And then they're like, oh, I'm not talking to you for the rest of the night. And then we ended up talking to them for the rest of the night.
Yeah.
And then by the end of the night, they're all like, actually, you're not so bad. And it's like, why are you
amazing.
being so
But
fucking
it's like
judgy?
that's what you associate a person's worldview on is just because they listen to someone who has different ideas. Like, how do you make a quick 5-second judgment? Oh, you listen to Joe Rogan, I'm not going to hear anything you say. And it's just like, who did you vote for
That's
president?
ignorant, yeah.
And then it's like, oh, based
Yeah.
on your answer, I'm going
We're
to
not
determine if
friends.
we're going to get along or not.
That's where we're at, man. Unfortunately, and I think that's gotten really bad since social media took over. I really feel like that was. I mean, we always had political debates growing up, of course. I remember, like you said, we don't talk politics, race, religion, money at the table because those are always dividing issues,
Yeah.
of course. But even back then, like the Thanksgiving meals, sure, someone might get upset about politics, like, oh, fuck Reagan, fuck Clinton, whatever. But now with social media, I think like when Obama got elected,
Fact
Twitter.
that a president got a blowy under the table in the Oval Office and he was not canceled is
That's a solid lad move.
absurd.
For the record, I have no problem with Bill Clinton.
No, I give him respect based on the fact that he was able to stay in office. But can you
Yeah.
imagine if that happened nowadays?
Oh,
the
unreal.
controversy.
It would be ridiculous. Yeah, no, Clinton pulled it off, and the fact that he stayed with that horrible wife of his up to this point, God bless you.
She's the worst.
I hope when we have our first female president that
It's not Hillary.
She allows somebody to eat her muff underneath the Oval Office table.
Okay, this is where DCPC goes off the rails.
Okay, yeah, no, Justin, it was so awesome having you in, man. I mean, you bring this epic energy to everything you do, and also you brought it here tonight and completely crushed it, man. We love what you do. We're going to keep supporting it. And
Absolutely.
Any closing words for the listeners?
Closing words for all of my people who potentially listen to them. I would say that. I'm humbled, honestly. This is my first in-studio podcast. For me, this was like a bucket list item. I had a great time. I hope I can come back.
You're coming back, man.
You're back.
You're coming back.
I'll bring the Bud Lights next time, so don't
Excellent.
worry.
Thanks, Bud Light.
But yeah, thank you guys so much.
Yeah,
This
thanks
was
for
a
being
lot
here,
of
man.
fun.
Appreciate you opening up, sharing some time with us, and kind of giving us your backstory. Hopefully your viewers and our viewers get a different look at kind of what you do, why you do it, and hopefully you continue on this success wave, man.
Yeah.
I mean, keep riding it.
I'm going to try.
Your channel's blowing up, your TikTok, your Instagram, everything's doing well. I think that's fantastic. We're going to include all of those links in the show notes down below. Whether you're listening or viewing, just scroll down and get in touch with Justin, give him a follow. That's that 90s kid for life with a Y. Get involved, guys. There's some cool stuff on there. I remember seeing the Crossfire video, and that really brought back some memories. Crossfire!
That dude's still in the Shadow Realm, by the way. The kid that lost. But two quick shout-outs. Doc Nostalgia, thanks for the hat. Chubbies, always repping your gear. Thanks so much. But one last cheers, guys. Appreciate it.
Justin, you're the
Bud
man.
Light.
Hell yeah, man.
Thanks, Bud Light. Guys, you know the spiel. Like I said, everything's going to be in the show notes down below. We're going to keep this train moving. If you haven't watched Happy Friday yet, you can find it right here on the Discussion Combustion YouTube channel. Episodes drop every Friday. We appreciate your support over here. Love you guys. You know the deal. Oh, and thanks again just for the pogs, man. This is really cool.
Keep them.
Yes.
Don't lose them.
Anything
Don't lose them
tangible?
like
We're
those
keeping
toys,
these.
man. I
That's
know.
right.
Keeping these.
that
I'll be
nostalgia
upset forever.
Ever.
Good stuff, man. Had so much fun. We drank some Bud Light, so that means I got to use a little boys' room. Be good to yourselves.
You know you deserve it, baby.